the host, and the host is the body of Christ in Catholicism, and it's like this
the
little
wafer.
cracker. The
I was
wafer.
just eating those Doritos that look just like them.
Yeah, you were, and it was that combined with the word host. I guess it brought me flashbacks. But I never had my first communion as a kid, so I never once ate the little cracker. And my sister would always lie; she'd go down and like get the cracker, and I never got it. I felt too bad. I was like, no, I'm not supposed to because I haven't had my first communion. So to this day, I've never tried the flesh of Christ, and I regret it. I should have at least tried the cracker once.
Because
probably so good.
Because what's the word? Cannibalism is so Catholic.
It's
exactly
in most societies.
Not the Catholic ones.
What I was gonna say is I went to one Catholic wedding, and my husband grew up Catholic, so he knew all the moves. And being a dancer, I was like, I want to know the moves. Like, I want to know like what we're doing. And so they go up to take communion, and I was like, do I also come with you? And he was like, yeah, if you want to burn in hell. And I was like, okay, this
yeah, that's the response I got.
But I was like, what?
So who knows who Tom Lehrer is?
Tom Lehrer?
Yeah.
I don't think I know.
First
I'm out of the loop. I don't know the moves.
First you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head in deep respect, and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect.
No, I've never heard that.
Oh, it's called the Vatican Rag.
You played that for us.
You have played that for us.
There you go.
Why
yeah.
His name ringing a bell? The name of the song rang a bell, but his what again?
Well, and he has another one called National Brotherhood Week.
Yeah, that's right. We were in.
That's the one.
We were in the Tesla driving to dinner to meet your friend one night, and you showed us all of his music. Oh my God, that shit was hilarious. I remember that now. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could remember more of the lyrics. Anyway, here we are. Hey, everybody, we are live, and we don't mean to just ignore you, but we got our thing, and we have our little conversations, and we get together, and this is just kind of what happens. So we're in a lighthearted mood, and let's see if we can maintain that while we talk about something that is not necessarily so lighthearted. And I'm gonna. Oh, Kirsten's already fearing it. I promise I won't mention your name.
You just did. Boom.
Roasted.
Broken promises. Guys are just like that, aren't they?
Oops.
Always breaking our promises.
You know what I keep forgetting to do on our evening is change my damn last name.
I was just about to remind you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have a comment already. I'm going to pop up my comments here. Hey, Gary. Good to see you. All right. So I want to start with, here, I gotta edit my name too. I can't be the only one with
in homage.
Well, it's not like it's my actual name. Hang on a second here. There we go. Yeah, my default name on Zoom is Spartacus, and that's because if I make it Bill, then I'm going to have if I make it Bill Wyman, I'm going to have a meeting with somebody that knows me as Bearheart, and it's they're going to whose Zoom account are you
using?
Who's
she?
And if I make it Bearheart, I'm going to have a meeting with somebody who knows me as Bill Wyman. So I just make it Spartacus because I'm Spartacus.
Actually, Bear, can you take a note for me? Can you jot this down for me? Next time you change your name, can you change it to Bears, comma, beets, like the vegetable, comma, Battlestar Galactica?
Amazing. Yes.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. I'm not sure why.
You don't need to know why. You just need to do it.
Don't need to know why.
Right on
peer pressure.
I'm out of 3x5 cards here, so I'm having to write it on a Post-it. Bears comma,
Comma,
Yes.
beats.
beats,
Comma.
BEETS.
BEETS, comma, Battlestar Galactica.
Period.
Yes. Hi,
Period.
Amy. We've missed you guys.
Oh, hey, Amy. Hey, guys. It's great to have you here with us. We have an interesting conversation coming up tonight. We had an experience on Friday. I don't know if y'all were around to see it, but our Twitch, our game night got hijacked is the word I want to use, by some adolescent gamers who decided to just harass the shit out of Kirsten. And
You just said you wouldn't say names.
I just said I wouldn't say it. So oh yeah, we missed you too. And so I handled it badly. I should have just, cut off the game and figured out how to block them and done that. And instead we kind of tolerated it, which really sucked for all of us, especially the Ms. Hallelujah. And so I decided to just, this is the way that I am. When I see that I've messed up, I take responsibility and I do everything I can to correct it. And so we're going to have a conversation today. I've done some research, and I'd had some of these experiences before. Oh, you wish, is that my brother? I think that's my brother, because that's one of his online names. You wish is my brother Steve. Hey Steve, love you. So for those who don't know our secret hand signals, this is American Sign Language for I love you. It's I, L, and Y, and so this spells I love you. So yeah, so I want to talk. I want to start with an experience that I had years and years ago. If we're going to talk about any sort of human rights, it always needs a context. We need to say, why is this important? And so I was in a workshop with one of my mentors, Allison Armstrong, who does workshops about the dynamics between men and women. And this is, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, maybe longer. And, it's in one of those big, hotel ballrooms with a few hundred people, maybe 1,000 people. I don't know. It was a big audience, and we're all like sitting in our little chairs in our little rows. And she says, "Okay, men only. How many of you in the last week have felt like you were in danger of harm or being killed?" And nobody raised their hands. None of the men raised their hands. And she says, "Okay, how about the last month?" And none of them raised their hands. And she says, "Okay, how about the last 6 months?" And we got 1 or 2 hands. And she says, "How about the last year?" And there might have been 1 or 2 more hands. And then she says, "Okay, all the men, put your hands down. Now the women, how many of you have felt like you were in danger of life or limb in the last week?" Half the women in the room raised their hands. And she said, "Okay, the last month." And another bunch of hands goes up. By the time she got to 6 months, pretty much all the women had their hands up. And this is why this subject is important, because we as men, we don't get this. It's not an experience that we're familiar with. But a woman just walks out her front door and she's on alert. And she's walking into the lion's den. She's walking into bodily danger. And this is her experience every single day. And every single time she walks out her front door, even sometimes within her own home, when she doesn't walk out her front door. I've known a lot of women who have feared for their lives in their own homes. So I'm going to try and keep personal experience out of it. So that I mean, I have not known any women in my life who do not have some stories of feeling threatened by men in public, and quite a few who have felt threatened by men in the privacy of their own home, and quite a few who have been um, sexually abused in their own homes. This is not an experience that most men have to look at and to experience, and sometimes without direct experience, it's hard for us to have empathy, to really be able to put ourselves in the shoes of another person. So why is this? Well, some of it is just the way that we're made. Women and children are, on average, physically more vulnerable than men. We're larger. I mean, in the history of our hindbrain, men are the hunters, and women are the gatherers, and when we in the wild, outside of our modern civilization, we would select mates that complement each other. Men would select the mates, who are going to, childbearing age, and are going to bear good children, and are going to be able to go out and gather the food and make a nice home. And the women are going to select men who can protect them. And this is kind of the way, even though our society, our culture, our modern world doesn't really demand that anymore, or it shouldn't. That's still part of our makeup. And so it is our job as men, and I know this sounds dated, but I think to a certain extent it's actually true even today. It is our job as men to protect the women and the children in our world. And it is entirely 100% antithetical, opposite to that role, to be the ones who are doing the harassing and the abusing. And if I'm just going to come out and say it, if you think that makes you a man, you are 100% wrong. That makes you an asshole. So assholes exist. They're all around us. I would hope that they're in the minority, but they're noisy enough that they make themselves noticed, and at best annoying, and at worst threatening. And sometimes it seems like our culture is like, getting worse. I hear people say this. My brother is one of these people who says this, like, oh, what's the world coming to? It didn't used to be like this, blah, blah, blah. It's always been like this.
I find myself saying that also, especially being like a millennial, the way in which
Hold on, you're a millennial? I think of millennials as being like teenagers. Did I miss something? Did they grow up?
No, teenagers now are called Gen Z.
I think it might already be Gen Alpha, some of the teenagers.
Okay.
Oh my God, Gen Alpha.
So I am.
But did we ran out of English letters, and now we're going into the Greek alphabet?
Actually, yes.
Or is it the NATO alphabet? After Alpha is going to be Bravo.
Yes, Porcupine Butler just confirmed it's millennial, Gen Z, and now it's into Gen Alpha. So I am a millennial, and I have experiences where I'm like, kids these days, and it's like, bro, like, like I wasn't a kid that long ago, but I still turn around and
some would say I'm still a kid.
Yes, at heart, and that's what matters. In your little bare heart.
So we find ourselves thinking like this, but it's not that human nature has changed so much, it's that circumstances have changed. It's like people will say, well, nobody had autism, back in the 50s. Well, all of a sudden we have autism today. And well, we did have autism back in the 50s. Hello. And it's just that it wasn't diagnosed. It's just that we didn't know enough. And, like today, um, we see people being rude and abusive online. And we think, well, people didn't used to be like that. It's like this damn internet is making them like that. Well, no, they've always been like that. And in fact, they just weren't online because we didn't have that until the last, 20 years, or really 15 years. Before 15 years ago, people didn't think that online was really going to be a thing, even though the internet was public. And, but until we got our little iPhones and our little, soap bar phones, then, that it's gotten progressively more visible, but it has not. People have always been like this. I was online, and in online communities as far back as the late 70s and the early 80s on the BBSs, the old dial-up BBSs, and I used to run one. I ran one called the BCS BBS from early 80s. I don't know. I think I finally named it that in like 83, 84, something like that, up through about, 2004, 2005. So, for those 20 years, I mean, I saw every day. We called it the glass eye effect because they'd be looking at this monitor, which in those days was made out of glass, and it looked like a big old glass eyeball. And they weren't actually seeing that they were speaking to an actual human being on the other side of it. And so they felt like they were anonymous. And I think we see that today. We saw these kids online last week that I mean, they had these stupid screen names, and that should have been our first clue. When they've got adolescent scatological stupid names, screen names, we should expect that sort of behavior from them. And so it's been a thing in the news for a while, this so-called Gamergate, and the gamer culture being, they call it toxic masculinity. I don't like that term because it implies that there is, that it's men that are the problem. And in fact, we both sexes have their version of toxic version of their gender roles, and it just happens that the masculine version of it is the one that gets the attention because men are loud, men are messy, men are. I mean, it's in our nature to. Another one of my mentors used to give this example of you give a new toy to a little girl and she'll look at it and she'll play with it and she'll let her imagination go wild with it. And you give a new little toy to a boy and he'll say, I wonder what happens if I throw this at the wall.
Yep. I
right?
can totally
And it's
Yep.
in our nature. We want to break shit and we want to put it back together and we want to see what's inside of it and we want to see its guts, right? And it's in our hindbrain that we need to exercise our physical power to know that we're a man. And the actual anthropological need for that has been gone for thousands of years. We don't actually need to do that in order to survive anymore. We don't actually need to do that in order to propagate the species anymore. What we need to do now is we need to evolve, and that's how we're going to survive. If we continue on our destructive path, we're going to continue to dominate the world with with destructive behavior, and we're going to destroy ourselves. And we see that in politics. We see that on the global stage all the time. Look at the number of people who would like to just deny that we're having an impact on the climate and on the environment that we live in. I mean, I see people saying, crazy shit like, well, the environment has survived all this, other stuff. Yes, but it hasn't survived global pollution on the scale that we're giving it now. And so, that's what we get for having destructive male egos running the show. And it would seem like we go through cycles with a lot of things. And in this latest political cycle, a lot of men have been given permission. And we see this in these male bloggers and who are all, oh, this is how you be a man, and I'm going to teach you how to be a man, and oh, please don't. What they're teaching is the caveman version of it. And what we need in order to evolve is we need compassion, we need introspection, we need to be able to look at ourselves and say, oh, I fucked up, and and here's how I need to fix it, which is what I did, because I fucked up on Friday, or was it Thursday? It was Thursday, yeah, because Friday was that weird day where everybody wasn't around, and so I look at that and I say, oh, this is an area where I need to evolve, where I need to grow, where I need to learn, and that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, beautiful women in my world here, but that's what makes somebody a man. Or am I wrong about that?
I wouldn't say that's what makes someone a man.
Okay. Correct me.
No.
Great. Okay. So maybe that's what evolution looks like. That's what growing and learning looks like.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I think that there's women that have those qualities, and I think that
sure. Yeah. I don't mean to exclude that. And you're right. It's not what makes somebody a man. It's what makes somebody an evolved human.
Yeah, that I could agree with. Yes. But
yeah. And that goes into, I have this this other friend who also teaches about this stuff, and he insists that there are no differences between men and women, and that men and women are exactly alike, except for a couple of little plumbing differences. And I don't see that. There are qualities that we label as feminine and qualities that we label as masculine, which really don't need to be that, and are perhaps old, outdated gender roles. Dodgers are ahead 2-0, top of the third. It's looking dangerous here. And a lot of that just doesn't apply anymore. We used to, we used to think of certain, like earlier today, I was wearing my Britney Spears cap, and I'm going to see the Barbie movie as soon as it comes out. I've already got tickets, and I was joking about whether I should go alone or whether I need to bring a beard.
Bring the beard.
I did bring I did find a beard, and we're going together.
Yay! And we're going to document the entire thing.
Yes. Okay. We know who the beard is.
Well, you are what you eat. Damn.
I am not going to take that to its logical conclusion. So,
I'm like, yes, I went there.
Oh, Kirsten just got it. Thursday decide.
No, it's the laugh. She did like a full-on evil genius.
It's called maniacal.
It is a maniacal laugh.
It gave me the ick.
Oh,
like that.
sorry, I icked you. I'm sorry.
All right, so especially in, I'm going to get back to my notes here, especially in the online gaming community. And that's where we've seen a lot of this. That's where we saw the so-called Gamergate stuff going on. And I hadn't been a part of this community. I mean, I play a few games. And I played some games with friends. I had never really been involved so much. I remember when Dee was growing up, they got me to do the World of Warcraft with them, and they were like, 12, 13 years old, and they were living in Hawaii, and I was living in Texas, and we would get online and we would do World of Warcraft together. And it wasn't so much that I was exposed to this attitude, but so I had to read about it. You hear about the male players making fun of each other by calling them girls, by saying that they're playing girly games, or if they don't like the violent games, they only like the girly games. You see the women players marginalized as intruders, and if they're very good at a game, you see the male players insulting them by saying, "Oh, well, you're probably just a man with a woman's profile," not believing that a woman can actually be good at the game. One survey found that 65% of women who play online games had reported instances of extreme sexual harassment. And I bet that number is just the ones who are willing to talk about it. And in comparison to their male counterparts, women are subjected to 3 times the amount of derogatory or offensive remarks, which are often made anonymously. And again, I bet those numbers are actually higher.
Not so anonymously, because one of the people that was on our game and it was on Thursday, not Friday. You're confused.
Yeah, it was Thursday. Yeah, you're right.
On Thursday, found me on social media and started coming after me there. So I guess our message did not get through to them. Therefore, yeah. I will need to keep my name changed. You'll have to remind me before I know people can go back and look at our old videos, but
yeah, let's try to remind each other.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because that's psychotic.
I'm just really proud of my name. I always have been. My mom instilled
I'm proud that you can spell it.
And me too. Me and you both. And she's so funny because she has this thing with words, and so she loves this last name because it's got 10 letters and none of the letters repeat. So
I gotta meet your mom.
So one time she bought me magnets for my refrigerator from Hobby Lobby or something, and she was like, "Look, it's every letter and none of them repeat themselves."
Have you added Hobby Lobby to your last name list yet?
No, but
I'm
putting it on the list now. I have so many good ones and I keep forgetting to put them on there.
Add Harrah's, HARRAH apostrophe S, Harrah's.
That's it's a casino here in Vegas.
A apostrophe H?
Or no. AH apostrophe S.
H, yeah, Harrah's.
It's a what's the word? Race car?
It's a casino here in Vegas.
But you can spell race car backwards?
Yeah. What's that word again? I know the word.
Oh my God, you stuck me on a word which I hate. It's
I'm sorry.
A palindrome.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, yeah. I'm trying to remember my favorite palindrome. Lisa Bonet ate no basil.
Oh. What? I wouldn't have guessed that.
I gotta type that bad boy out.
Yeah, Lisa Bonet ate no basil. It's from a song called Bob. It's a Weird Al song that's made up entirely of palindromes, and some of them are very long and hilarious. But there's like a whole palindrome community, and they have conventions where they have contests for like who can make the longest palindromes and stuff. And yes,
Oh, it's
it's a
just
thing.
HARRAH''S. Okay, I thought there was something crazy going on in there.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like a goofy goober. Okay, it's on there. I've added it to my list. If anybody else has cool
Home buyer.
suggest
Homeowner.
homeowner.
Hellfire.
Hellfire.
That one's on the list, and I haven't found an appropriate time to use it.
Okay, well, today would have been it.
Heck yeah.
It reminds me. Have you ever seen that movie called The Wrong Missy? It's on Netflix.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. With,
David
what's his
Spade.
face? Yes, David Spade.
And she has this weird character that she calls Hellstar.
Yes.
She is me, I am her.
Yeah, I love her.
Okay, so I'm on with my notes. In a 2012 study at Ohio State University showed that the same person playing Halo 3 online with a male profile and the same person with a female profile recorded voice messages received, and there were 3 times more negative comments with the female profile despite similar game scores. Even welcome everybody at the beginning of a game could lead to sexist insults against the female profile. Yeah. And this goes on and on and on. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do about this? Well, in the context of our little group here, when we have game nights on Thursday nights, they used to be on Fridays and now they're on Thursdays, except when they're not. And here's what we're going to do. If it's possible in the game, and I don't know, I don't run the game, so Rickitti knows. We need to know if it's possible to expel a player, if it's possible to boot them and block them. And this is the games like the Jackbox games where we play with other people. If it's not possible, and I know that you've figured out how to block people on Twitch, because this seems to be a Twitch problem. I don't see this as being a problem with our YouTube feed, and I could be wrong, and this may change as we get more popular, which is going to happen in the next month or two, because we got plans. But if it's possible, then we need to, just boot them, right away when they start acting up. And if it's not, then what we need to do is we need to stop the game, quit the game, which boots everybody, and then block that person on Twitch so they can't see the game again. And then we can start it up again, only with the friendly people.
Exactly.
Now, but the larger problem is, still cultural. One thing we need is we need more representation behind the scenes. So the gaming companies, and I know this was a big deal during the Gamergate, and I know that it is still a big deal, that the gamer companies who make the games are not a very welcoming environment to women engineers, artists, and people who create the games, and that needs to change. In fact, I find that in my audience for my programming classes, it's at least 3-to-1 male. We have a good number of women, and that's just from my, I haven't done an official survey where I've counted them all out, and I honestly wouldn't even know how, because so many of our so many of my audience is from different cultures where I don't really recognize masculine and feminine names as easily. But it seems to me that that the number of women who are taking my courses and learning programming is growing, and that's a good thing. And I think that's going to really help. I know that in the film industry, and I come from the film industry growing up in Hollywood, my parents worked in the film industry. I know that in the film industry, we're seeing a lot more inclusiveness in our films and TV shows because there's a lot more diversity behind the camera and the people who are writing and producing the entertainment. And I believe that if we were to apply that same thing to the gaming world, and there were more women represented and more, diverse cultures and ethnicities, behind the camera, so to speak, in building and making the games, that would help a lot. But more directly, I think as parents, and I think as parents, we need to train our children early on to be respectful of others, and we need to have zero tolerance for any misogyny, for any sexism, for any hate towards any groups, LGBTQ, I don't know if I remember all of the letters, but I have my little, pride pin here. So if we hear any homophobic language from them or anything like that, I know you hear that at school, but that is not okay for it to come out of your mouth. And whatever your family culture is for correcting your children. But for any gender identity, race, religion, culture, or nationality, as I wrote it in my notes, and even more importantly, we need to train ourselves. And this is this is an ongoing work. All humans have bias. We are all just intrinsically biased toward our own tribe over other tribes. And so if my tribe is actually one of the 12 original tribes, I made a little Jewish joke there, then we tend to see people who are like ourselves culturally, and Kirsten is a goober. Kirsten is a self-described goober.
That is very, very true.
Yeah. So we need to train ourselves to recognize when we're hearing offensive or oppressive speech, or even more so when it's coming out of our own mouths, because I know this has happened. I've done this. I wasn't always, this enlightened, aware person. I grew up in the 50s and 60s and, saying things that I would never say today. So we need to see that in ourselves. We need to see the people around us who are close to us, and we need to adopt a zero tolerance attitude towards it. And if we do these things, if we start with our own self-awareness and awareness of those in our immediate circle, I think we can really affect some change and propagate that change out to the world, and maybe make some change in the world for the better. That is the end of my notes.
End it with a dab. Hey,
Hit him with a dab. Hit him with a dab.
Keep forgetting Ricky can't do a dab because she doesn't have
mic
arms.
Drop. Did you see my mic drop?
You gotta put it in reverse. I'm not dropping
like
this mic. It's a good one.
This is like an $800 mic.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
It is a Shure mic, and so it is designed for to be sturdy on stage and to be thrown around into, I don't know if you've ever seen The Who. Roger Daltrey has this thing he does where he swings his microphone around. The Shure company went to him early in his career and said, we'll give you all the mics you want, just please break them. So, and then when you break them, give them to us so we can see how they broke, and we can make better mics that can't be broken so easily.
So cool.
And he's been using Shure mics ever since, and he doesn't break them so much anymore.
That's probably his goal by the end of the concert, like make sure this mic breaks.
Well, he sends them back to Shure, and they inspect them. And I mean, this has been going on for 50 years now. And that has a lot to do with why Shure has such a reputation for such incredibly durable microphones. But anyway, so that's what I got. I hope Kirsten or Kitty, have I addressed the things? I mean, did I do a good job of this? I want some feedback, and I don't know how to ask for it without sounding like I'm
So tell me what
fishing
you
for
think.
compliments. I'm not fishing for compliments. I just want to know, did I miss anything? Is there stuff that did I address all the high points?
I think you did. It was very well rounded. And yeah, I mean, it's been a problem when I first started like gaming on online circles and such in like maybe 2014. So I was like maybe 15 or 16. And yeah, I mean, it was a problem then. It's a problem now, but you just got to find the right circles, I think.
That, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, I mean, as much progress as one can make, it's never going away. People are never just going to magically stop bullying people on the internet. And it just, I guess that's the most like depressing point about this whole thing. It's like you can inform as many people as you want and you can do as much as you want, but there's people that don't want to learn. There's people that don't want to educate themselves. There's people that just want to keep doing what they're doing, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Oh, Amy sent a nice comment. That's nice.
Thank you.
Amy.
You said it's been Amy
I
approved.
tend to be a little more optimistic than that.
We love that bear.
Yeah, I know. So, being as ancient as I am, and remembering how bad this was when we used to live in caves and had to fight off dinosaurs.
Yeah, that was me last week. So,
I do see progress. It's incremental. Okay. It's like I say, that's how shit gets done. It's incremental. And we see little bits of progress and little bits of progress. 50 years ago, I don't think anybody could have imagined having a black president. 50 years ago, I mean, I remember when the vice presidential candidate was a woman, and God, I don't remember, Dukakis, something Dukakis, and they put up attack ads with pictures of her crying, like that was what disqualified her. Having emotions and being able to express them was what disqualified her from being, as they would say, a heartbeat away from the presidency. And just less than 20 years later, that the Republicans had a woman vice presidential candidate. I mean, she was a hilarious fascist, but it's but so these things, they get incrementally better. I mean, today gay people can get married. I mean, when I was growing up, gay people could be arrested just for being gay. And so it's going to take some time. I wouldn't say it's never going to go away. I would say it's not going to go away quickly, and it's not going to go away without a fight. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be painless, but I hold out hope that it can happen. And I look at my children's generation, and it's so funny, the things that we think of as being, progressive and radical and wonderful, even, acceptance of people using different pronouns. I mean, I still have to get used to referring to D with the gender neutral they, and I mess up and I miss it sometimes. And I mean, I even use their birth name occasionally. I mean, I was there. I helped choose the name, but it's not their name. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we are capable of choosing our own names, says Bearhart. But we look at these things, and through the eyes of the next generation, and these things that we see as being incredible, and being this wonderful progress, they see it as being normal. They see it as being okay. yeah, so this person's got this pronoun, this person's got this now. It's not that hard. I don't understand why you're making a big deal out of it. That's their perspective. And so when I see that, I have so much hope and so much pride in our next generation. It makes me look left. Yeah. I have my little 3x5 cards here. I was making notes and I'm like tapping them on the table, and I don't know if it's like disturbing you people, but
not disturbing, but you can definitely hear it.
Yeah,
that's a good mic.
Yeah, it's a great mic.
Ooh, ASMR. We should do a whole live stream of just ASMR, but like also trying not to make the other ones laugh, because ASMR makes me very uncomfortable, like very uncomfortable. So when I come up there to do podcasts, me and Ricky will like whisper into the microphones with our headphones on, but we just can't stop.
I've been editing one of those, and I just watching back the footage is so good.
It's ridiculous. This is what happens when you buy us nice things. We make absolute fools of ourselves.
Just baseball alert. It is now 4-0, top of the 5th.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna go watch that.
Dodgers. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And we're just about out of time here anyway. Thank y'all for being here. It's wonderful to have you. And sometimes we have just a lot of fun, and sometimes we have to talk about some heavy shit, and it's all good. We're all about learning and growing and becoming better humans. And we hope that for all of you as well. We're grateful for your love and care. And Thursday, we will have another game night, and we will play Jackbox games again out of defiance. And we'll see how that goes.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be fabulous. So thank you for being here. We will be back tomorrow morning at 1100 Pacific. That's 11 a.m. for the Muggles. Here from the world headquarters, from the Bearheart Group world headquarters here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Love you. Bye.